Welcome to the Gear Garage Live Show. This weekly YouTube show covers whitewater rafting, river safety,
oh God, I lost my paddle,
gear, and anything else Zach feels like rambling on about.
Well, welcome to the show, everybody. We have a few questions to answer, so I'm just getting right into it. I want to start by the way, if you have a question, throw it in the comments and I'll get to it. Okay, talk about Clackfest. It's this weekend. It starts tomorrow. And Clackfest used to be a Saturday, Sunday thing. And it looks like they're now doing a lot of stuff on Friday. So tomorrow at the Clackfest, there'll be demos, there'll be booths set up. There's maybe a band. So if you have tomorrow off, if you have Friday off, go up tomorrow. Saturday is the full day. It's tons of races, tons of events. And it looks like Sunday is sort of a morning thing. So love to see you all up there. It's a good chance, I said, again, to demo some boats and meet people. It is a true festival in the sense of the word festival. Did I say that right? It's just an actual, it's a gathering of people. There's a lot of different things to do. And if you're in the whitewater, it is sort of the Northwest premier annual gathering. So I hope to see you all there, like I said, and let's go to questions. Whoa, this one's a long one. Okay, here we go. Topic is oar length. I'm adding an Air 156R to my small fleet for July 2nd Hell's Canyon trip. The 156R is a sweet boat. I like it. It's not diminishing tubes, about 16 feet. It's a great size for everybody. Solid choice. I currently run a 60-inch NRS Bighorn Bighorn 1, I don't know, and Bighorn 2 frame on my Air 143D, depending on the trip. I run 9.5 foot oars and have a couple sets. I'm trying to keep my gear as standardized as possible. For the bigger boat, I'm planning to convert the Bighorn 2 frame into a double rail frame to bring the width to 69 inches. Adding oar towers brings the distance between the towers to 78 inches. That distance results in a 10.5 foot required oar length. If I kept the oar towers in the inner rail, this is getting complicated. I'm not even sure I understand. First of all, let me just jump in right now. It's not the distance between the towers. It's the distance between the oar locks. So where you measure towers, I have no idea. The distance between the oar locks is the key to getting the oar length based on my formula. I'm not even sure if we're using my formula or not. Let's see. Let's see what you're doing. 78 times 1.63 divided by 12. Yeah, 10.6. So 10. Got it. You are using it. If I kept the towers in the inner rail, I could then use 9.5 foot oars. Alternatively, I could use 1 foot oar extensions to my 9.5s. Long term, I'll probably get dedicated 10.5 foot oars, but I'm trying to make do with what I have in the meantime. Would I be sacrificing too much leverage and performance using the 9.5 foot oars on the inner rail of the 15.5 foot boat? Yeah, I think that's weird. I've never really thought it makes sense to run on the inner rail. It's kind of weird. It's not, you're sacrificing something. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't recommend it. I've seen people do it. I don't think it's smart. And what are the negatives of using oar extensions? I mean, it's a little give. That's how I would go. I would put the oar tower where it should go and just get the oar extension. And there's a little bit of give, but it's not a big deal. It's an easy solution. Long term, just get the 10 foot oars, the dedicated ones long term, but in the short term, you should be fine. Well, it depends what oar you're running. Hold on. Does it say what oar you're running? It does depend on, I mean, if you're running the MXGs, the Sawyer MXGs, I feel really confident with that. If you're using something else, I'm not sure what the connection's like and if it's, gives a lot, but I feel really good with the solution if you're using Sawyer MXGs. Otherwise, I don't have enough experience with the other ones to speak about that. Okay, best cat boat for running hard whitewater. Yo, Zach, you demand. That's cool. Thanks. I'm about to put out a video today that people are going to probably get upset about. So I won't be the man soon, potentially. We'll find out. I have a way of upsetting all the I'm a person who tells you what I think. And a lot of people won't say what they think because it makes people mad and people get offended easily. I'm going to tell you what I think. And so because of that, people do get mad at me. And so I appreciate the nice comment because I think some people think I'm an asshole. Okay, anyway, moving on. I'm trying to move on. I'm trying to move into running harder whitewater with the ultimate goal of being catboating in North Fork Payette. I'm looking to purchase a boat that I can get into bigger runs with. I haven't read the rest. I can just tell you right now, the all around hard whitewater boat, 12.5-foot Legend. That is the boat. Close second is a 12.5-foot wave destroyer. And then you might think about going 11-foot. Maybe, 11-foot is a sweet boat, a little more lighter, more maneuverable, not as forgiving. But 12.5-foot Legend is just the go-to solid boat. Okay, anyway, I saw a video you posted a few years ago about some of the cats in the 12-foot range. Do you still think the Sotar Legend Airwave Destroyer and the Moravia in the 12-ish foot length are the best boats for big technical water? Yeah, although the Moravia, I probably wouldn't go with the Moravia because it has so much rocker. It just, they were trying to do something different and they put too much rocker on it and it's just like twitchy. But the Legend, I think that's number one, and the Wave Destroyer is close second. Is the one that stands out to you better to you than the others? But yeah, the Sotar is just they invented the design, they perfected it. It's solid. Also, what's with the oar setup I see many cats with the really forward rowing stance? Well, that's a very Idaho thing. And it's very North Fork specific because I would say like California, a lot of Oregon, a lot of places, most of the places, it's a lot of like bigger drops and pools and back ferrying and forward. It's like a combination of being aggressive on a forward paddle and backing up and just doing a variety of things. The North Fork Payette specifically is just a lot of pushing. You're just pushing, breaking through laterals. You're just like aggressively attacking things based on the style of that river. And because the North Fork Payette boaters set the tone for everybody else in Idaho, everybody else sort of follows, whether they're on the North Fork or not. So it's for a river where you're aggressively breaking laterals, aggressively pushing downstream, like North Fork Payette. Foodalafoo is a bit like that. What else would be like that? I don't know, higher volume, big waves type of rivers. What isn't like that would be runs like Cherry Creek and the Wind, North Fork American. What else? Illinois, Selway, where you're using a combination of pushing and pulling. The Selway, if it's higher water, you might be pushing a lot if you're really, really, really good. Maybe. But I think that forward stance is a very Idaho thing. And then people just copy. I mean, that's what I'm finding in this whole world is that like people don't make decisions based on having the right answers. They just do what other people do. That's why people have those earrings on the rafts, those like silly flip lines. They see other people have them and they just go, I'll get those too. Or NRS sells them. So it's like, I should just get those. So I think it's the same thing with this. A lot of Idaho boaters just copy the North Fork Payette boaters and sit forward. Okay. Anyway, what's the advantage? Do you prefer it? I've rarely done it because I don't run the North Fork Payette. I've only kayaked it. I've never catboated it. And it's not like my daily run. And I like being center. I like the style of river more, the drops and the maneuvers, and like that's my style I enjoy. I go find those rivers generally. But if I know the run is a lot of pushing, I will purposely move my frame forward when I rig it. Anything else I should be looking at when finding a boat for big whitewater? Yeah, I mean, I just go with that 12.5-foot Legend. It's easy. The hard part's gonna be the frame. That's gonna be for running big whitewater. You want a baller frame, and I'd probably go with Jesse's frame, the Class 5 Adventure gear for a capo frame, especially for big whitewater. I think that's the best thing out right now. There's some other options, but that's what I'd go with. Okay, moving on. Oh, commercial break. I don't have a commercial this week, so I'm gonna move on. Okay, rafts and oars. Hey, love the show and your content. Thanks for saying that. It helps me a lot. Again, I make a lot of people mad, so it's good to hear it. It's very helpful. Cool. 2 questions, 1 comment. Question 1, you mentioned you're working on boat designs with Sotar. Is there a 15 or 16 footer in the works? Yeah, there's going to be a 14 and a half and a 16. And it's just a matter of when I can drop those boats off, and sit down and talk to them. The 13's done. Get the 13. We'll probably have a 14 and a half, 16 sometime this summer or fall. Question 2, do you ever have issues with the play tolerance in the diameter of the Sawyer A-locks. I just dropped some into new style NRS towers, and there's some play. Not terrible, but annoying. I was going to get new bushings, but they don't seem worn. I've never really had a problem with that. I just can't think of it. See, I'm not sure if it's the NRS or towers or the Orlocks, but it's usually a pretty solid fit. There's not slop. I figure it might be a slight difference in how they're made. Yeah, I have no idea. I haven't seen it. Yeah. Finally, my comment. You seem to be very down on square tops because they're expensive and only to look cool. Unless I'm missing something, your preferred option, MXSG with HD downlight blade, is $70 more than a square top in the same. I compared 9-footers. What gives? Is it just durability and replaceability? All things being equal, I prefer the lighter weight and flex of the square tops. Yeah, I mean, I think this is another example, sort of like the Idaho example that came up earlier, in the earlier question. People just sort of copy what other people do without really thinking about it much, and it makes sense because they don't have enough experience or time out there. They just copy what somebody awesome does. And I think the square tops were invented, if I'm correct, for fishing. They wanted flex in there, right? And for whitewater, and again, my show's about whitewater. It's not about class 2 and 3. If you're running class 2 and easy 3, I don't know, sit as high as you want in your frame, have your oars wrong, just do all kinds of silly stuff. People that are running, like if you're running the Rogue, your square tops are going to be great. It's going to be so cool. They're going to have a little bit of flex. They're going to look cool. You're going to be super happy. I'm talking about, like, you might go do Cherry Creek someday. Nobody on Cherry Creek is running square tops. You might go do the Selway. You might go do the Middle Fork of the Salmon at low water, high water. That's what I'm suggesting. I'm like preparing people for harder stuff. So if you're just like, I'm doing class 2, maybe a little easy 3, maybe the Rogue, square tops, cool. Get your square tops. You're going to be in love. They're super cool. For harder rivers, flex isn't good. Like, you lose energy when it flexes and predictability. You want to put the blade in the water and move the boat. You don't want a little bit of like weird delay and flex in the thing. So like, I'm not a big fan of flex. Where flex might help you is if you have bad shoulders. I get that. If you have bad shoulders, get your square tops. Do it. If you have strong shoulders and you want to command your boat and have power, you want stiff oars. And the MXGs are pretty stiff. And I didn't realize they cost more. I thought they cost the same. I still would go with the MXGs. And I'll pay for extras. I'll put another $30 worth of reinforcements on mine to make them heavier and more durable. So mine probably cost $100 more than square tops. I know this because I bought some for my company when they kind of first came out. I bought some for our gear boats, and they just flex too much, and they're just not like what I think of as a solid oar. Again, I'm pretty sure they were designed for drift boats and for fishing, and then people started putting them on oar boats. And everybody that I know that uses them, they say it's because they flex, but it's just because they look cool. I mean, they do look cool. They have a cool name. It's like, to me, it's like a statusy thing. Like, oh, I have square tops. Where the MXG is just, it's a workhorse. So I sort of see like the MXG is like a working man's oar, and the square top is like, somebody who, it's a fancy pants oar. And you could think I'm totally wrong, and maybe I probably am wrong. I'm wrong all the time. But I rode both, and I know where people use them. You're just not going to see square tops. You're not going to see any commercial guides run square tops. I bought that for my guides. They stopped using them. No commercial companies are buying them. And nobody running Cherry Creek is running them. Nobody running the Food LeFou is running them. Nobody running Hard Rivers is running them. This is a niche thing for people that are running class 3, class 2. And again, if that's you, awesome. And you want your square tops, get them. And if that's all I had, I would run them. I'd be like, cool, I have square tops. I'm gonna have some flex. I'll deal with it. Right. And if $70 makes a difference, $70 each seems like a lot. But whatever. If $70 is that much and you're like, well, it's $7 cheaper, cool. The advantage of the square tops is it's one piece. And so there's no, like, kind of like that earlier question where if you had the 1 foot extension, there's just a little bit of give, like a little bit of Like it's not 100% solid. The square tops are because it's one piece. That's an advantage of the square tops. So with MXGs, there's a connection that has just a tiny bit to give, right? The advantage of them, I think you mentioned earlier, is like if you break a blade, you only have to replace a blade. If you break a shaft, you only have to replace a shaft. With a square top, you break it, it's broken. It's done forever. So this is just my opinion. Like this is based on my lived experience, what I use. I might have too strong of an opinion here. I just personally couldn't see myself wanting to run square tops on any whitewater. Now I would probably really enjoy them on the Rogue, on like a 14-foot boat. I'd probably really actually enjoy them. But if I'm running a heavy boat, hard rapids, it just isn't like my thing. So hopefully that helps. If you, I don't know if you said you have them or not, but yeah, if you like them, cool. They're, as long as you like them, that's all that matters. I'm just telling you all my opinion. This is the reason I'm probably so opinionated about this too is I teach a lot of classes, and I teach a lot of private classes, and people show up with their square tops. They're all proud of them. I'm like, cool, we'll run your square tops. And then I say, hey, just try my oars out and see what you think. And they pretty much always want my oars. And then they have this expensive set of square tops that they bought that they now have to sell. And I've just seen it happen so many times that I really want to discourage people from getting them for whitewater. Again, for class 2 and 3, easy whitewater or fishing, awesome, do it. But like, I've just seen people buy them because that's what the salespeople tell them to buy. Kind of like, you know, and they're always the wrong size too. They're always like a foot too short, 6 inches too short as well. It's both things. All right, enough of a rant on that. Okay, wow, Heidi, you got questions. Does your oar length formula meant to help determine oar length only? Use your formula with a new frame for a prediction of 9-foot oars. This means 2.5 foot of oar cockpit after captain. I don't understand this. Does your oar length formula meant to help determine oar length only? My oar length, yeah, I mean, my oar length formula is an oar length formula. So yes, it's help. It is. The answer is yes, because my oar length formula is for oar length. That's the answer to question one. But that would be the beginning of your comment. Use your formula with a new frame. Cool. And a predicted 9-foot oars. Cool. This means 2.5 feet of oar in cockpit after captain adjustment. I don't know what a captain adjustment even is. That doesn't. I don't think you'd only have 2.5 feet. It's supposed to be like 11:30 seconds or some fraction like that. Maybe you did the math wrong. That's all I can. I think I know what you're saying. I think I finally understand it. I have a blog post I'm going to bring up that I wrote for River Hardware. Let me get here. That let's see if I can add it. Remove, add. And there's an interesting fraction for how much should be inside and outside. And this fraction comes from like ancient, like rowing manuals, not ancient, but older. The 11 to 27 ratio. So you want 29% inboard and 71% outboard. And so what's 29% of 9 feet? 29% of, so I'm using equals 9 feet is 2 feet 7 5/16 inches. So this says, you say 2.5, it's actually 2 feet 7 5/16. Maybe, Heidi, the problem is you're having your handles are too far away here, so move them in a little bit, but you're close. Yeah, it's actually not like, so people that sell oars will say 1/3 inside, 2/3 outside. That's just wrong. That's just blatantly wrong. Like the ratio is 11 to 27. So 29% of your oar from oar lock to hand and 71% of your oar lock from oar lock to out. It's just science, everyone. I'm just sharing science. Okay, I think I understood your question, Heidi. It took me a minute. I'm a little slow. Wait, this is the same question. I'm missing something in the formula. 2.5 feet of oar in the cockpit is not enough oar. Okay. No more adjustments to be made without overlapping oars, getting a short oar, underpowering the boat. I don't know. Do whatever you want. I'm just telling you what I do. This blog post I'm showing you here, it provides even more description. It shouldn't be hard. If you measure the distance between your oar locks, you multiply by 1.63, that gives you your length. If you put that oar in, it should work brilliantly. unless it just should. I feel like there's something in the math that got messed up because it shouldn't be 2.5 feet. It should be 2 feet. What did I come up with? 2 feet, 7 and 5/16 inches. That's what it should be. Adjusted for my shoulder width and got the oars is, I don't know what that means, adjusted for your shoulder width, but yeah, you bring the oars down and like the handles almost touch. So, yeah, it should work. But look at this blog. This blog actually goes through more than, more detail. But it's not, it sometimes isn't that much oar on the inside compared to how much is outside. Again, it's 29%, 71%. And there's so many different setups. Like everything's a little different. And I don't know, some people do math differently. So it could be that you just did math differently than I did. Okay, I think that's the last question. Where's my question page? Here it is. Get out of this, go to that. That's the last question. Yeah, cool. Well, thank everybody for watching. And I'm probably going to do a show if there's questions. Maybe do a show next Tuesday. So we'll see you all there.